Hey everyone, this is Mike from You'll Probably Agree, and I'm reviewing Tomb Raider 2018. Tomb Raider 2018 is not as bad as Tomb Raider 2001. One of the nice things this time around is that we don't have an American actress in the likes of Angelina Jolie slapping on a fake British accent, although in fairness, Alicia Vikander is from Sweden. But hey, she's basically using her natural accent anyways. Luckily, the film doesn't fall into the usual Simon West schlock of the original picture, opening with our protagonist shooting a bunch of CGI robots to techno music. That's not to say the film is necessarily good, however. It suffers from a painfully predictable plot, mostly flat characters, and every cliche in the book. Considering the terrible track record of almost every video game movie dating back to Super Mario Bros. From 1993, I guess you could say that most of these things that I'm complaining about are nitpicking, as really, this film just had to achieve the bare minimum level of narrative writing and cohesiveness in order to be passable. Passable is the best way to describe this film. Alicia Vikander does a fine job as Lara Croft, especially since all she had to do was be able to act, which, considering she's an Oscar winner, she's able to do, unless you're Halle Berry. The rest of the cast fulfills their roles nicely. Dominic West plays the conflicted father Richard Croft. Walton Goggins, who you might know from Sons of Anarchy, Justified, or Vice Principals, uses his signature crazy eyes to portray the film's antagonist. The rest of the cast includes Daniel Wu and Kristen Scott Thomas. I only say their names because their characters are all very much forgettable. The plot centers around Laura's longing for her missing father, where he went to go find the tomb of the mythical Queen Himiko, who is said to command the power of life and death. All of this is explained in your usual opening exposition. Laura eventually winds up running into Matthias Vogel, played by Walton Goggins. He's looking for the same tomb, and more or less, if the tomb gets opened, bad things will happen, and everyone on Earth will die. The film ends with the tomb collapsing, lots of running sequences, a Mickey Mousey soundtrack, and a silly nod to the audience via a pre-end credits scene. Not to mention, there's a setup for a sequel, which I'm going to guess that based on the marginal $23 million opening that lost to Black Panther during its 5th-week run, it's not going to happen. There's just not a big enough fan base or market for another forgettable video game movie franchise. I appreciate that the film attempted to make a less sexualized version of Lara Croft, where her merits aren't cast upon her memories. I also like the fact that the film tried to capture a tad of the gritty new direction the new games went with, without going towards full-blown violence, while maintaining a sense of the 90s era fun the original games did. Unfortunately, these attempts just make for a run-of-the-mill film that's no more unique than National Treasure. Tomb Raider is trying to cash in on the strong female-led protagonist diverse movement in blockbuster cinema we have seen today, but can't quite find its own voice like Black Panther or Wonder Woman does. It's just too flat. It says nor does anything unique like those films did. Unfortunately, passable doesn't make you a good movie, even amongst your terrible counterparts. It's especially difficult to make a good video game movie when video game movies for the last 10 years have basically become movies in and of themselves. Some games with even stronger storylines than films themselves. Even the reboot of Tomb Raider in video game form from 2013 had a stronger narrative than this film, in my opinion. When this film started out, it revolved around a working class Lara Croft, which was a different direction from the dynastic wealth that Lara has in the games and the movies alike. It gave me some interest in her. Unfortunately, all of that was thrown away when you find out about her estate and how it relates to her father, where I'm supposed to root for another rich from the gate protagonist. And I'm sorry, but when your character is somebody who has millions of dollars who could just stop tomb raiding and then just sit in their mansion, I can't really root for them. It's more interesting if Lara Croft was somebody who is from rags and she raids these tombs and does these things because she needs adventure in her life. She needs purpose, so she's just not another statistic. Bottom line is, passable isn't good. The curse of the video game movies continues. Perhaps if a movie is made about a lesser known game like Life is Strange Before the Storm, Journey, or Shenmue, we can have a decent film worth seeing. Something that has a voice. Something that has something to say. So, again, movie's passable. It's a rental. Let me know what you think. Have a good one.